Alrighty, Chris, so it's Tuesday, like 2 in the afternoon. Pats, I was excited. I watched the game, and when Zappe came in, I'm like, oh, killer, he's going to kick some ass, and he did. They did 2 touchdowns in like 4 minutes. But then that was it, huh? I watched the whole game because I'm like, well, you know, obviously it got to a point where there wasn't going to be enough time, but I kept hoping that he'd have that, you know, all he needed was a couple more of those quick blasts again. But, oh well. Tampa Bay's not doing any better. Actually, they're doing worse. Alright, so I'm just doing a little lesson. This ain't pre-planned. I just put groceries away, took the dog for a walk, and I figured, you know what, I'm going to throw a little, I don't even know what I'm going to do yet, but just some things that come from D major that you would not think. So typically right away to me, the things that I know come from D major right away would be anything that's a pure B minor thing, like you know, whatever. It's basically, I look for any kind of chords that I keep an eye on, the notes all being right from the D major. So you could do something like that. So there's your, I didn't even plan this, I'm telling you, I'm just making, one thing I was planning was showing you this thing that I've done before. That's, I use the scale blocks of, I would for that if we created a groove with it. You know, that kind of thing. You know, right? You got all kinds of things. You know. Now that we could create a killer tune out of that, you know, just sit down and decide what the turnaround needs to be, and I'm avoiding obvious, you know, but that's all D major. So I'm just doing this to kind of demonstrate how when you hear why I've stressed about learning, picking a key and learning all the scale positions in that key, because all the modes are in every single one of the blocks. So there is no Dorian, strictly Dorian or strictly Mixolydian, or there is that flavor. But, you know, obviously, you know, if I had a chord progression, say we wrote a song that was strictly I've been goofing with all 2-string things, no regular bar chords, although those are fine, I do that too. But having them scale blocks under your belt, you know, playing them like each time you sit down with the E, say the E block, just milk the piss out of that one block. And keep hitting that open E. So we're in D, so on the open part of this, you know, you don't see it when I do this. Oh, yes you do. So you got all these open strings on that E Dorian block. So you play the block to get them down, but then you start fucking around with it and getting creative with them, you know. So this is all out of the D major too. You know, you can mix in pentatonic. So again, it's learning the blocks just so you got them notes under your belt. But then say if I wanted to play an A Mixolydian flavor, which I mentioned in the video. So I'd use all them scale blocks in D, but I would focus on, okay, what note do I want to hit right away on that A chord? Definitely not an A note. I want when it goes to the D, so I look for harmonizing to the chords using those exact blocks I showed you. So, you know, if I'm playing a Mixolydian flavor or whatever, because that's strong Mixolydian, because I'm going right to the 5 chord of D and the 4 chord in the root. You know, you could go backwards. It's unlimited. It's basically... So you got that if you're playing to the A. So I could use that block of the quote-unquote E Dorian for anything. For A Mixolydian, for G Lydian, flavor. Now, so even if I went to A Mixolydian, you know, I wanted to play to that A chord, just that A chord, I'm not really, it's not really strictly Mixolydian. It's got that flavor. The biggest flavor of a Mixolydian is the major third instead of the minor third. You know? So, you know, if you're playing that Mixolydian flavor, it doesn't mean you're strictly going to run up and down an A. You might, but I do a lot of harmonize and pentatonic. I might just do that, emphasize that major third. Or skipping notes. And that's when you start finding groove ideas, or actually literally song potential, you know, that kind of thing. So I might, if I was doing A Mixolydian, this is all still using them blocks I've sent you of D major, you know. If you were playing, say, what's cool about it is it gets away from the minor pentatonic, which is great, and I mix that in. Actually, I would mix that in with playing to a Mixolydian. I would, just to give it a little, sprinkle a little garlic salt on it, you know. So, you know, it's not strict. There's no strict thing. That's why I've always told you. It's pointless to just learn a Mixolydian scale. Absolutely pointless to just learn a B minor scale. What are you going to do? Just go there? All the cool stuff, and everybody's creative in the songwriting, they don't do any of that. If they're playing a B minor, they're looking for everything around it that's not touching that B note. Yes, and it might be included. Some songs are heavy on just the root, but we already have that. You rip it up already with that kind of stuff. So we want what else? And that's what this is all about. So a lot of times to a Mixolydian flavor, I always call it flavor, because that just means I'm going to I might harmonize with the focus, harmonizing to that A, but I might include a minor third. I might go, and I might go behind that G to the F sharp note, and go down to that minor. So I'm playing something that speaks Mixolydian, you know, or whatever. A heavy, say with an A and a G, I mean a G and a D, however you want to do it, you know. I'm looking to harmonize to them notes, and I'm going to use all them blocks out of D major that I've already laid out, but I'm not going to, you know, I might, like I said, take an F sharp note out of there. I might go and just bend that up to a G, or I might do this major third and go right down to the A and up to a minor third and back to the A. I might focus on the, you know, I might do things like, you know, those kind of things to that. So when I goof around, I've been goofing around with just the two string things, like in that key. You know, I don't have to go to a minor. It's avoiding the things we already can do. That's what I'm looking for, things that I haven't done yet, you know, but staying in those blocks, staying with the notes in it. Yeah. Come on, let's take a free ride. You know, but just looking for tasteful things, you know, and using the pentatonic in it too, so. Yeah, I'm just doing things that are in D. Trying to think of what else I could do with that. I just made that up just now, but I'm just staying in D. So that kind of thing, I'm just sharing that, you know, how there's, you know, if I was to write something and focusing on the F sharp, you know, I'd look for a groove right there. You know, all that kind of stuff. And once I come up with a groove idea, then I know I can go into any of them blocks once again, and I'm just going to focus on playing that flavor. You know, and then I'd start looking at, well, so that's, even though it's not natural F sharp minor here, I could use a minor, F sharp minor pentatonic. So, you know, that kind of thing. And I think that's what a lot of these guys that, like Richie Kotzen and all them, that create these cool things, they know these things. So, and then they look for things inside of them that are, you know, dark and tasteful, or dark and light, you know. Whatever. whatever. So, yeah. Anyways, for creativity, it's useful for anyone. Learning the scale blocks, there's so much more in them, you know, once you... Start going like I did in the other block, the one yesterday, is travel up in the blocks, you know, take a chord like G, and then once you've got the blocks down, you just start playing. That's what I used to do for a while. I'd find one chord a track that just played that G, but I would purposely say, okay, I can play G major, G minor to that one chord as long as it doesn't play. If you hear a power chord, that leaves the door open to major or minor, any mode, all 7 modes you could use staying on the G. For example, using G. Well, we should be talking D. But then I would play to that one chord out of this, like say I wanted that G Lydian flavor from D, then I would... But I'd always want to avoid hitting the G, the root note to the chord. You know, there's another thing where you have a ghost notes where, in other words, you're not playing them, where I would do a riff go... And that's where I'd land. But then, based on the timing of that groove with the G chord, so that that chord would come in on the timing of my last 3 notes. You know, so you got... And that's how you end it, and you start a new one, but then it hits the chord. So it's like a ghost note. It almost makes you feel like I landed on a G, but I never did, kind of. There's so much to all this. No, that would, yeah, that's right. That would be... Just goofing around with things, just keeping all my notes in D, 2-string thing. And then I'd want that other chord in there, but that's focusing on the G Lydian flavor. Anyways. Oh, yeah. That's all out of D major.